Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. All right, we've got Marion McGovern, M Squared Consulting. Marion, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, my pleasure. All right, give us some background on what you do, and let's get into your global impact, your footprint on the world.
Well, I have been in the human capital space for my 30-plus year career, where I started a company back in 1987 that matched consultants to projects. So that was an early gig economy company before the term was even created. So I grew that company, sold it to a big South African public company, and have remained in the space and recently published a book, Thriving in the Gig Economy, about how the future of work is changing with independent workers and new digital talent platforms.
For those that don't know this, give me the description of what is gig work.
A gig, by definition, is work of uncertain or varying duration that is done for multiple clients or employers. It actually came to be used back in the 1920s with jazz musicians who would have a club date on one side of town for a couple of nights and then another side of town for a week. And someone just recently told me that gig stood for God is good because they got the work.
Okay. Just that I can see the acronym, how that will work. Tell us how it's reshaping businesses of all sizes.
Well, now there are, depending on what report you read, somewhere between 40 and 50 million people in the United States who are working independently, and over 70% of them are doing this by choice. So these are not people that couldn't find regular work. So if you are a company that is in need of a certain set of skills, and the folks who have those only want to work independently, in fact, 50% have said they would never go back to regular work regardless of how much they were paid, you have to tap that reservoir of talent.
Let me change gears for a little bit. The top three misconceptions about the big gig economy.
I would say the first one is that it's people who can't find real work, and that is not the case at all. The second is that it is just drivers and delivery people and low-skilled folks. And again, there is a whole array of folks who are working this way, from interim CEOs to data scientists to lawyers to web designers to creative folks. I mean, it is as broad as can be. So there are all sorts. I think it's the digital talent platforms like the driving Uber and Lyft or TaskRabbit that gets a lot of the attention. But the truth of the matter is there's all sorts of folks doing it. And the final misconception I would say is that it's an unfortunate situation and people aren't earning what they could earn, because the truth of the matter is a number of people are doing this by choice and earning quite a bit. And the other dimension of that is many people are using gig work to supplement their current job. So, I, for one, because I have this interest, always interview my Uber or Lyft driver about, why are they doing this, how long they've done it, et cetera. And a lot of them are teachers, musicians, masseuses, you name it, where this driving income helps add to another role that they have, another employment source that they have.
What about the hidden challenges of independent workers?
There are hidden challenges of regular work too, but certainly there is the issue of isolation. You are on your own by definition. There is the social safety net that is a problem. Many people don't get benefits on their own, although, again, entrepreneurs are springing up to help resolve that. There are companies that offer health benefits or resources to help you locate those for independent workers. freelancersunion.org, peers.org, are good sources for people if they're looking for resources to find out where to get these things. Is a new startup in San Francisco that offers professional liability insurance for independents, which is for the more senior independent consultants. This is a big deal, and having a low-cost source of professional liability insurance is a tremendous development.
What are the key factors that are going to change the future of the gig economy?
Well, I would hope that there's been some focus on the policy side of things. Of course, not a lot is getting done in government these days. But Senator Mark Warner has a bill, for example, to create a pilot for portable benefits. So the idea being that benefits, instead of being from an employer, which is how most people think of them, health insurance and things like that, retirement, would travel with the employee. And people who deploy that employee or that worker would pay into that on a pro rata basis based on how many hours the person worked or whatever. But the idea being, let's do a pilot for a year, see how it works, and then that can inform policy a year later. So it would be wonderful if there were some action on that.
Do you think that that should be? I mean, I would say that is a big push to be able to make that happen. Do you think that's going to launch soon, or is there some hurdles that we have to talk about?
This is the first time in years that there's even been talk about it. So
right.
That to me is a positive development. There's another idea that is floating out there, which is another notion that we need another designation. You can't have worker, employee, independent contractor. Maybe there's a third category that needs to be out there. And one of them, which I think is very cool, is the notion of having someone be certified self-employed. Because one thing that hinders some people from engaging freelancers is they're worried. Should they be an employee? What's the tax implications? All that kind of stuff. If someone can be certified as self-employed, so a suggestion was made that the SBA does it, the Small Business Administration. You get a 3-year certification that shows that you have multiple clients and you're running a business, et cetera. Then that takes away that risk. So there are people talking about it, so that's helpful. And in fact, New York last year passed the city of New York passed a bill that was called the Freelancing Isn't Free Act, where the idea that so many freelancers end up getting stiffed on their payments that there are now hefty fees in the city of New York if you don't pay your contractors. So again, there's more focus on the fact that this is a growing cohort of workers that needs more attention and in some cases more protections.
It seems to me the more we implement AI, the more we implement mechanization of normal human jobs, that this is really the way of the future. This is where everybody's going to have to end up.
Well, it's interesting because there are some people that have very, dire forecasts about, work is going to go away because of AI. The truth of the matter is, I think, is that work will just change. And the jobs will be different. And part of the challenge here is how do you prepare yourself for the job of the future when the job hasn't even been defined yet. So the more that you are in control over your own career progression and your own learnings, which quite frankly, there have been studies that show that people who work independently are far more aware of the additional skills they need to add to remain marketable than people who are in employed positions. So I think that emphasis on upskilling and reskilling and continuous learning is going to be really critical as, the world of AI and digitization continues.
Got it. We've got to run, but Marion, thank you for being the guest on the show.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. All right, Marion McGovern and M Square Consulting, MarionMcGovern.com. Thanks for listening. Segment brought to you by Tycon Partners. We're going to take a break now, and we'll see you tomorrow with more great content. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba and Ed Baxter.